Good morning. Today is March 19th, 2024, Monday. Today is Tuesday. Lost track of time. Today it's 5:30 in the morning, and we continue with the Tanya, and we're now in chapter 28, and the title here is, you can see, Spiritual Insensitivity, a touch conversation we need to have with ourselves. As Tanya is discussing now how the person is trying to get himself or herself elevated closer to God, to become one in God, and we talked about differences in concepts, but basically to improve himself or herself. It's talking about the need to have enthusiasm, and we talked many times, difficult to harness enthusiasm when somebody has issues, and two issues that Tanya discussed. One set is material issues, children, health, and financial issues, and the second one, religious issues like regrets about something the person did in the past. And Tanya presented in the previous recordings, we covered and how the person handled that. Then now the Tanya develops that idea of how to have joy and happiness and take everything that God sends you, sends me, sends us positively. Not easy to do, I admit, but we'll continue searching for Tanya's. The reason we're looking for Tanya's help is to be helped. We have issues, we have insecurities, we have problems, some spiritual, some material, some this, some that. So how do we harness enthusiasm? How do we harness happiness? And Tanya says enthusiasm, this is Rabbi Miller in Tanya's commentary says, enthusiasm is especially necessary in two areas. A, prayer, which is a service of the heart, and B, delaying gratification from permissible activities. So what are permissible activities? Permissible activities like, I want to eat, but instead of one hamburger, I'm going to have 2 or 3. One is enough. Maybe even half would be enough for you. So I was thinking myself, example, how do I do to limit my permissible activities, but they're not necessary, that I'm wasting time, and instead I can put time for good use. For example, I'm trying to improve my Hebrew language. And to be honest with you, I always try to find justification to either look at the YouTube for the news, or do something else related in English, or even good things to help my wife. That's a good thing, to go shopping or whatever. But delay sitting down and for an hour or two have a Hebrew lesson or read something in Hebrew to improve it. So 3 things I can identify the person can make an effort, and relatively easy effort. 1, diet, food control, to lose weight. Nowadays, society is overweight. How many people we see ourselves overweight and we admit that we eat too much? I just can't help it. I love to eat. Well, how do you step on it and saying, enough? I can be perfectly happy with a plate of soup and a salad, and stop, and not have a chicken and hamburger and salami and whatnot. And 2, eliminate junk in my house or apartment. Look around there, it's, oh boy, it takes so much time to clean everything and rearrange it, and I don't have room. Well, the question is, do I need to have all these 25 pictures and shelves of books and books and books? Well, if it's a book of sentimental value that my kids gave me as a present, perhaps a couple of them makes sense. But we can have a book on War and Peace and Gulliver and this and this, that interesting books, but not really necessary. And if we eliminate 90% of clutter, 90% of the clutter can probably very successfully be removed, and we will not miss it. Then the third one is, do not watch the programs. Like, I guess I have continued a little bit later. They call me for minyan. They need 10 people for minyan. So we'll talk in a minute. I'll come back. Important things first. People need minyan, need to help. Okay, we're back. Assisted with Kaddish at Minyan, and I will continue our recordings. So 3 things. One is overeating. Second one, eliminate junk in the house. And if you think about it, most of it is not necessary. Once you remove it, it becomes much clearer. There's a much more room. How many dishes do you have? Do you really? Nice to have 5 sets of dishes. For meat and milk, of course, they're separate. But do you need 2 or 3 or 4 sets? Get rid of them. How many plates do you need? 15, 20, maybe 4 or 6 would suffice. Well, hard to get rid of. It's nice to have it. Well, nice to have it, but that's what the gratification of materials overwhelms us. And the third one, do not watch TV junks. Like I said, I watch YouTube, I watch this, I watch that, and essentially that prevents me from concentrating on important things. Then the Tanya continues core identity. So why do we now choose that? What makes us not to get into the area where we were spiritually more connected? What makes it choose to pass to the left, to pass to the right? Well, we talk about 5 gradations of personalities. Benoni, in-betweener, then semi-tzaddik, minyan again. Okay, I'm back again. It was interrupted 2 times. They'd have a minyan incomplete, 9 people, they needed 10. But interesting practical example, what's more important? What we're studying, how we're praying, or God gives us the signals, challenges all the time. They had 9 people in the next room when they were ready to pray. They cannot say Kaddish without 10 people. In this room was me, and there was another guy sitting and praying too. So when somebody came and says, hey, come here, we need extra people, which one of us should go? If I'm focusing, concentrating on this recording, the other guy should go. The other guy is concentrating on his prayers. He thinks I should go. As a result, okay, I'm going and tell him, why don't you go? He tells me, why don't you go? How should we behave in this case? I wonder if you would know, and I'll think about it, and then tomorrow I'll give you my answer. 9 people, 2 more extras sitting in another room. They are asked to come to make a minyan. If 2 of them will come, they have 11 people, 1 extra than they absolutely need. And then one of them will be able to continue whatever he or she doing. Well, he doing, in this case, the guys sitting in a praying hall. Let's think about it. See what will be your answer. That's a practical application of the midot of characteristics. It's a practical laboratory test for you guys. Example, how to behave or not behave. So anyway, so we talk about a couple of things that we can bring ourselves closer to practical solution of our overweight issues, of our junk in the house issues, and wasting time. As I mentioned, I watch sometimes too much YouTube or too much this, and I look forward, subconsciously perhaps, or even consciously, I want to distract myself to doing something that's easy. I want to decorate my house because it's easy. Why should I go ahead and take a study page of Torah? That's more difficult, not so much fun. Thinking. We know that it's important to study Torah. We know it's important to help other people, to involve yourself with the community, and yet our mind gets detracted to something that is easy to do. Not bad, but easy. We know that 3 hamburgers is too much. 1 is enough, or even half. And yet, tastes so good, I'll have 3. Next thing you know, I'm overweight. I have to go to Weight Watchers and ask help. How do I lose weight? It's so difficult. It's not so difficult if you realize it. Maybe this recording, our discussion will help. Maybe you make a commitment and say, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds, 5 kilograms, or I'm gonna examine my home and say that 90% of the stuff I accumulated is really junk. I'll donate it to Salvation Army or to Soup Kitchen or to somebody who can use it, or many people. And I can live more sparsely. What do I really need to survive? Not to survive, but to live good, happy, be part of the community, go to the beach, play basketball, in addition to my prayers and working on my midot, but I don't need so much stuff. Well, let's think about it. As a little practical example here. So, the Tanya now in chapter 28, 29, is analyzing why Benoni, incomplete tzaddik, completely tzaddik, incomplete rasha, complete rasha, so 5 categories. We'll keep threading through our conversation. And Tanya mentions, so the reason why, and I also struggle with that, why would person make this decision versus that decision? And it turns out, Tanya mentioned before that the full tzaddik, complete tzaddik, that transformed his animalistic soul into good, make it help him function. He still has to eat, he still has to walk, he has to go to work, he has to do that. That's animal soul does it for us. And divine soul, which sits inside of animal soul, has conquered the animalistic soul and made it essentially good, turned the wolf into the lamb. The incomplete tzaddik almost did that, but not exactly. It still has the caged animalistic soul, but under control. Then Benoni is in between. Really didn't fully cage it, but he has control, like on the leash, and he behaves as a tzaddik. You can't tell the difference from outside observing him, but yet it's more difficult for him. And similar goes to incomplete rasha and complete rasha. So Tanya now presents that, it mentioned that full, complete tzaddik, it's impossible, practically impossible, or maybe mostly impossible for 99.9% of humanity to get to that level. I'm not even sure if Tanya said if it's possible to any. Then Tanya said that there is a, and that's not Tanya, I believe it's in Kabbalah, in Zohar, say the 36 tzaddikim anytime exist in the world. And those tzaddikim were sent by God purposely to seed tzaddikim into the humanity, to help humanity from going to chaos. They are holding the world. You, perhaps, as one of those tzaddikim listening to this, to holding the world from collapsing. That's a full tzaddikim. So that is how they make their decisions. They didn't make decisions. God gave them free choice. But now they're very special people. They almost don't use the free choice, if you will. They detest the bad things. They hate, not only control it, but they can't stand the thought of cheating and stealing and not helping somebody else. They hate that. And then Benoni, now Tanya says, it's in section 2 of chapter 29, it says, people who sin acquire a negative energy field as a result of their behavior. But in a less pronounced way, the Benoni has a pre-existing negative energy built into his system at birth. That's a tough revolutionary idea, because on one hand, we think that certainly most of us, probably you too, think that God presented us to this world and he gave us freedom of choice, and it's how we execute our freedom of choice we become better or worse. We have to decide, and we ask this question, how do we decide? What decides in us? So now Tanya developed this concept, are we mainly animal soul dominated, or mainly divine soul dominated? So basically, and that seed of the inclination to the good or the bad, apparently Tanya now says, for Benoni, is from birth. Okay, that's for Benoni. Maybe for the we understand now the full tzaddik, who is God created them. Just the world needed it. He decided to send these 36 people into the world. And then incomplete tzaddik, that's a person who probably did transform from Benoni to the tzaddik, but not quite the same tzaddik that God sent to the world in perfection. And then on the other side of the scale, somebody is incomplete rasha, He still has some good things, but he is more doing nasty things. And complete Russia, who completely allowed his animalistic soul to dominate him. So the God did not make the complete tzaddik. He did not make the incomplete tzaddik. He did not make half a tzaddik. Half Russia, partial Russia, complete Russia, and partial tzaddik. But the Benoni, it says here, we'll see what later, maybe it will correct it, he made them, sent into the world, and gave them freedom of choice to fix. But the complete tzaddik, he sent it in the world, he really doesn't seem to need to be fixing. He already fixed. Now, how would the world affect him? Can he drop from the level of full tzaddik? Can his lamb in his body, the animal soul that he transferred into the lamb, he didn't transfer, that's given at birth, where it's saying for the complete tzaddik. Can that become a wolf again? Does he have to control himself? Well, according to the Tanya, he doesn't need to control himself. He is already there. Nothing will change him. He will not be affected by the bad things in the world, by the seductions, by the attractions. He is not affected by that. But half a tzaddik can go either way. He can continue improving, or he can fall. Benoni can go either way. He has to continuously work on it. The Rasha and full Rasha, also we always have a chance to go for the good, except for the full tzaddik, apparently, who predestined by God to never go back, never become a sinful person. So that's kind of interesting chapter. So let's see if you can do this practical work to put this energy into to create joyfulness from realizing that, and that will help you through your prayer. And then delaying gratifications by eliminating extra sandwiches, extra hamburgers, and French fries with grease from your diet, and eat what you need. We don't need to eat that much. Eliminate junk from your house. Do a garage sale. Get rid of all the junk, and understand the next time you're watching TV or the YouTube, the same YouTube that makes you feel good, that you agree with them or disagree with them, but it's really a waste of time. Eliminate those three, you will be amazed how much time you now freed up for service to God and actually make yourself happy. Again, doesn't mean you have to stop going to the beach or taking bicycle rides or enjoy life. God wants us to enjoy life, but eliminate junk. Anyway, have a great day. We'll talk tomorrow more on that subject. Let's see what you came with the test. How should these two people act? When 9 people, missing 1 for the minyan, needed 1, should both of them go? Should only one go? Should they say, hey, you go, you go? Should they become angry? Why am I going? It's more important for me to stay what I'm doing than for you. How should that situation be handled? Let's talk about next time. Today is Tuesday, 19th of March, 2024. Have a great day.